Howdy. Today's the Thanksgiving Day, November, what is it, 28th, Thursday? Yeah, and this was supposed to be day 3 of my trip from Utah to Saskatchewan. But I'm still here. I'm still in Salt Lake City, sitting next to the Seb Brothers Travel Center of 215, Interstate 215. And what happened yesterday is I went to the shipper in the morning, you know, expecting to get loaded and get the heck out of here, because I'm delivering some metal parts to a construction site in Saskatchewan, and I call those guys and they're like, you know, waiting for it. And then I go inside the shipping office and the lady says, oh, just drop your trailer behind the building. It's going to be a while. And no one told me about dropping trailers, you know, so but what do you do? So I called the agent, said this is what happens, you know, they're too busy, I guess, before the holidays. They told me to drop the trailer, and he says, okay, let me know when you load it. So I dropped the trailer and went to, there was a Flying J like a couple of miles down the road, like 3 kilometers. And I started driving from out of there, decided to wash my truck, and I started having problems with my clutch, you know. I go to the intersection, stop sign, and I'm waiting for the traffic to pass, and I cannot put the truck in gear. Like, I press the clutch all the way down, you know, into the floor. My left foot is already inside the engine compartment, and still, like, when I try to shift it, you know, you can hear those and feel those shafts spinning, right? They don't allow me to go into a gear. And I look in the mirror, there's a guy behind me, of course, and he starts fuming, you know, like, because there's no traffic on the main road, and I'm still sitting there. And well, he didn't honk or anything, but then when I finally did move, and what I did basically, I had to shut off the engine, put the transmission in gear, and then start the engine with my clutch depressed, and then I was able to go. And of course, this guy behind me, he just passed me at like 100 miles an hour and took the same entrance to the freeway that I was taking. Because some guys have no imagination, you know, they cannot understand what's happening if the truck in front of them just stands, you know. Well, maybe I'm not sleeping, maybe I broke down, you know. But I didn't want to panic everybody and put my flashing lights on. I just couldn't believe it. But then I started driving, and I didn't use my clutch when shifting, but then I noticed that it was difficult to get the stick out of let's say out of 6 and go into 7. It was, you know, sticking there. And then I pressed the clutch and it just doesn't want to go. And so I washed the truck, and I've noticed the same thing, like it was getting worse and worse all of a sudden, you know. And there's only one wash in Salt Lake City. I think like within 300 miles there's only one truck wash, and there was a lineup. Anyway, so it took me like an hour to over an hour to get the truck washed. And the thing is, when you just wash the truck, I should have done it on the way in, but I thought, you know, they're gonna be angry at me for showing up late. I should have washed the truck and the trailer, but I wanted to get loaded first, and it was already like 9 o'clock, so I left the trailer there, right? So now I only have the truck. Now this guy at the desk says it'll be 45 bucks. I say, what? Okay, how much is it for the truck and the trailer? He says 35 or something like that, but like basically 10 bucks cheaper. I said, how can it be? You know, you guys working for 15 minutes on my truck, and if I have a trailer, that'll be like half an hour for sure, right? Always, because we'll give you a discount when you have two vehicles, basically, truck and trailer. I said, well, I don't have my trailer, you know. I need to wash the truck because it's so dirty after that, you know, Ontario run. There was like dirt, like a real mud everywhere, you know, mud melted with ice before, and then of course ice melted, and it's like, now my trailer is looks the same, but at least now I can, you know, the trailer is easier to wash. I look down where the fifth wheel is, and all that stuff there is like very muddy. So, and they washed all that because I wouldn't be able to wash that when I have a trailer hooked, you know. So anyway, so I started panicking, like my clutch is going, I hoped it was just the adjustment, so I came, there was a Flying J right across the street from that Beacon truck wash. I called them, they said no, we don't have a shop. I said, do you know who has in the area? And she said Seb Brothers. Okay, so I called Seb Brothers. They say, oh, we open 24/7, so, but only one mechanic at night. But anyway, so I came in, and they have a very good mechanic actually. You know, you can see that they know what they're doing, except that, like, they're all Spanish guys here in Salt Lake City. I don't know what they're doing here. Like, if I was Spanish, I'd be somewhere in San Francisco, California, I don't know. But anyway, I'm glad they're here because, you know, there's a couple of guys that really know what they're doing. And one guy says, let's see if we can, like, what's the cheapest way to fix it, you know, like the easiest way. Because, of course, on the one hand, they want to make money. On the other hand, you know, they don't want your truck blocking that pit bay, you know, because they only one bay with a pit where you can go under the truck. And so he comes back, I'm sitting in the lounge, he comes back and he says, your clutch brake is gone, basically, you know. And the clutch brake, it's like a little thing that, you know, when you depress your clutch, that clutch brake actually stops those shafts from moving, you know. Usually it's like in the first gear. Otherwise you wouldn't be able to go into gear. And that's what I had, right? And he said, okay, let's see if we can just replace the clutch brake. And I said, is that part of a new clutch, or is that, like, how does it work, or is it a separate part? And we had some kind of a language problem, but I figured it was a separate part because I didn't want to pay twice, you know. He says, if this does not work, then you need a new clutch, like, and what if that clutch comes already with a clutch brake? So I'm like paying twice, but you know, the clutch is like $2,000, like the whole work, parts and labor. Anyway, so he removes cuts out the clutch brake, and he shows it to me, and it's like just a disc, kind of like a, you know, like a disc. When you look at your disc brakes, if you have disc brakes on a car, it's basically like a metal ring that goes and stops those shafts from moving. And it was all worn out. I don't think I ever replaced one. If it's not part of a clutch, I did replace the clutch like 3 years ago or something, when I was increasing the power on the engine. But you see, I still don't know if that's part of the clutch or what. Or so if it's not part of a clutch, that means that I still have the original one built in December 2003 on my 2004 truck. Oh wow, a very attractive female driver is walking down there. Okay, I digress. And so he comes out and he puts in the new clutch brake, and then I can hear my truck's starting, because, you know, you always recognize the sound of your truck's engine. And I hear the gears grinding. He cannot put it in gear from the stop, you know. So the guy comes back to me and he says, yeah, it didn't work. You need a new clutch. And he brings me in, and, you know, down in the pit, and he says, look, and you can actually see, like, from there, of course, real clearly. And he shows me that when he tried to adjust the free play, because I thought that was the, you know, also the problem, out of clutch being out of adjustment. And he says when he tried to adjust it, like some nut or bolt in there just moved, and you can see the thread is gone basically there. So it's this LIPE clutch, you know, LIPE. They revived the brand that was famous, like, I don't know, 60s and 70s, and there was so much, you know, hoopla and propaganda about this, and I bought that. And I remember the clutch itself, even with 2,000 pound torque rating, was only like $550, because there was a rep in Toronto, in Ontario, they were just starting this domination campaign to introduce LIPE back into the market. So it was supposed like the world's best clutch, you know, and it only lasted, you know, what, 3-4 years. But I had to get that one because that one had a 20-50 pounds of torque rating, and only then CAT allowed me to you know, increase the power of the engine. So anyway, so there's a dealer here, international dealer, so we call those guys, and they say, yeah, a new clutch, let's say 1860 torque at least rating, not the cheap 1650, would be about $900, like $875. Okay, that's normal. And then the labor, they say 10 hours. I said, what, 10 hours? But of course they never go by the actual labor amount, you know, like that goes into taking stuff out and putting stuff back in. They go by the book. They have that big book all the industry is using, and they look at the job and they add and they, you know, subtract various factors there, you know. But in this case they had to move air tanks, so of course they add points for that, you know. So anyways, well, it's like $1,000. And I say, well, there's nothing I can do, right? So I call the shipper. The shipper says, yeah, they're starting on your trailer. This was like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. But you have to pick it up before 5, because if you don't pick it up before 5, then the gate will be closed. And tomorrow is Thanksgiving. Everything will be locked. You won't be able to get to your trailer by Monday. Great. And of course I have like $2,000 on my fuel card. And I need fuel to get to Canada, 900 miles. So I call Landstar and I say, how much money do I have in my savings account? Because they take 8%, kind of like a voluntary savings program. They take 8% of each gross pay and they put it in my top secret account. That's where I'm saving money for my lowboy trailer. And she says, $1,600. I say, what? That can't be. And the Landstar lady says, is that good or bad? I said, good, because I thought I had like $500 in there. All right, so now we're cool, you know. I don't have to use Canadian money. I can use this one. So they just transfer the money to my fuel card. Boom, you know. I gave these guys the green light. I called the cab and went to the shipper there. It's about like 5 miles from here, and I explained to them the situation. I said, the cab driver, he has you know, Ford Crown Victoria, big V8, but I asked him, he does not think he can pull 53-foot triaxle trailer that weighs 14,000 pounds with a 27,000 pound load on it. So I said, my truck broke down. The truck will be ready tomorrow morning, so I'm here to make some arrangements. How we can maybe put my trailer when it's done outside the gate, but it's aluminum, you know, like the metal that I'm picking up, the load. It's like parts for the roofing, and it's expensive, you know, so I think someone might steal it. So I brought my lock, like the glad hand lock. I said you can put it on the trailer. And actually sometimes in life, you know, when things seem complicated, then all of a sudden they're not that complicated. They're simple, because they had a coded lock on the gate, and they called the manager, and the manager said, okay, I'll give you the code, and we'll leave your trailer inside the gate, and tomorrow on Thanksgiving, when you're ready with your truck, just come in, open the coded lock, you know, pick up your trailer, put your straps on, you know, the tarp, and then drive out and lock the gate. And there's a mailbox at the entrance where you can sign the paperwork. We'll hide on the trailer somewhere. Sign that paperwork and put one copy in the mailbox. Beautiful. So I use that cab to go to a hotel. These guys have a deal. The Seb Brothers has it's like $50 or something for a nice hotel, sleep in. Spend the night there. Came back, and yeah, it's ready. $2,170.06. Paid in full. So now I just got some coffee, protein bar. They don't have good protein bars, you know. They have this one, and it's like 30 grams of sugar, but I want to eat something. So now I have to just drive down there, hook up to the trailer, and strap everything down, put my tarp on, and then I can start trucking. But of course now I hoped I'll be in Saskatchewan Friday, but today's already Thursday. But they did mention they can unload me Saturday, so I don't know. But my cutoff for the paperwork submission is Monday, so as long as I send everything by Monday noon, or 2 o'clock, I think, yeah, 2 o'clock Central Time, I'll be paid Wednesday. So it's all cool. But that's what happens. Sorry for the long video, but it's just like an insight for people that wanna maybe think that are thinking about being an owner-operator. Always make sure you have a reserve of money, you know, because anything can happen, especially when you drive a used truck. And actually that's another caution I wanted to voice, that I'd be afraid to buy a really cheap truck. If you're thinking of, hey, I can buy one at an auction for like $7,000, like one guy I know. But that guy, he has his own shop. He has like a trucking company and a construction company, and he has 2 mechanics on duty. That guy is not you. If you just like me, like driver, right? So be very cautious when buying a used truck with lots of miles, because this is what can happen. You can start losing parts, and they're all very expensive. Clutch, transmission, differentials, drive shaft, So I remember when I started in this as owner operator with this truck back in '07, the company out of Canada, they had actually like a memo for owner operators, and they said we recommend that you have either cash or available credit for at least $5,000 when you drive your own truck, just in case something like this happens. So I'm very glad that I started the savings program, finally, because otherwise all the money is gone. But this is the best way when you don't see it. When the company you work for, they take the money off the top, and it's amazing how quickly it all adds up. Like just 8%, and in some, I don't know, a couple of months it's already $1,600. So I think it's quite realistic for me to save, like, I don't know, 10, 15, 20 grand, and then go get that lowboy trailer. Alright, so now I'm, looks like everything is cool. I'll be back on the road later today, heading north on I-15 towards Alberta and Sweetgrass, Montana, crossing into Canada. Thanks for watching. You be safe. Oh, and happy Thanksgiving.